All right, so I'm back with another one with Over the Top the podcast. And I told y'all I always had a special guest, man. So I got a special guest on here that I just knew that y'all would just love on here just off everything that she do, the way she speak and everything. So I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hey, y'all, what's up? My name is Reah, but you can call me Reah. I am the owner of Motivational Movement Group. I also have a apparel line called Making Moves God's Way.
Dope.
I wrote an ebook at the beginning of 2022. It's called Vision 2, the number 2 reality. And I have an actual new announcement. I am in the process of starting my new podcast. It's called Journey to a Godly Woman.
Yeah, which is dope as well. And so I'm happy to have you here.
I'm excited.
And I just been inspired by you since the first time I seen you just down Facebook and Instagram, everything that you be doing, you as well as speaking. You just speak so much knowledge and life down your timeline. I just was like, yeah, I gotta have her on my podcast.
I appreciate you.
Just to talk about her story and where it is you come from. So, starting your journey just on entrepreneurship, where did you start at? What was the first thing you done?
Well, I started Motivational Movement Group in 2020, and I've always wanted to have something of my own because I'm not really a type of person that has like a hobby or anything like that.
Yeah.
I just work. That's all I really do. And I was talking to my best friend Shonda, and she was like, "Okay, so you've been talking about actually doing something, and having something for yourself, and all that. What is it that you like to do? What is something that you can do the best that really nobody else can do?"
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't know. She's like, what's something that really second nature to you? I don't know. I like I said, I just like to work. So
yeah, a lot of people be wanting like that.
Yeah. So I got to thinking about it. I even prayed about it. And that week, all week, somebody was coming to me asking me about stuff and their life and all that. And I noticed that naturally I like to help people, but not only help people, I like to encourage them and uplift them and let them know that, they can do whatever they put their mind to. And then I came back to her and I was like, I told her that. I was like, I know what it is. I know what I'm good at. And she was like, what is that? I was like, I am good at just speaking encouragement to people.
That's a fact.
But the thing is, I haven't always been good with speaking.
Talk about that. Talk about, what's the process behind that? Story behind that.
So actually today, my message today for my daily encouragement was that, transparency. Growing up, I was the type of person that held stuff in. That whenever I got mad, sad, whatever, I wouldn't speak on it. I wouldn't speak my mind. I would just hold it in. And every time I held it in, it was like I was stacking bricks on top of another, one on top of another. And one day, me and my mom got into this big old clash because it was like everything that I had been holding in just came out. And I realized, I was like, this is not healthy. And looking back,
holding it all in.
Yeah, I don't even see how I was holding all that stuff in all that time.
Yeah.
And after, as I got older and all that, because this was in my teens, and as I got older, I was like, and I had a kid at a young age. And so I had to be his voice.
Right, yeah.
My mom used to always tell me, and sometimes she still tells me to this day, nobody can read your mind, Reah. You got to say something. You got to.
Yeah.
Rather if it's going to hurt their feelings, or if you don't want to say it or whatever, you got to.
Because sometimes you think they should know.
Yeah.
That's definitely true.
That's how... Because the thing is, we think that just because we are a certain way, that other people should be that exact same way. But everybody don't think the same way that you think. It don't work like that. And if it did work like that, we would all be the same.
So what was the message behind what you was what the message was today? What was the full message?
That you just need to talk.
Release.
Talk it through. In order to get to the root of the problem, you need to talk through it to get to the root. Yeah. And that's definitely true. I started talking things out, and I was like, man, why didn't I do this a long time ago?
How would you go about doing that? Because honestly, right now, I still deal with that myself. As far as like my relationship with my dad, like I don't be want to hurt his feelings. You know what I'm saying? because he got in his head who he is to me.
Right.
But at the same time, I be wanting to tell him like, Pops, you not, but not in a bad way. But I need you. I needed you at this young age, and so I don't really know how to explain to him even now today.
No, and I start laughing because to be totally honest, I'm like that with my dad.
Yeah.
The younger me, if I couldn't put into words without being disrespectful, because my mouth used to be off the chain.
Oh yeah, it's easy to be like, hey.
Yeah. I would write a letter, and I would slip it under my mother's door, or I would slip it under my dad's door, and just tell them how I felt. Like, I want to get this out, but I don't know how to put it in words to be respectful. So I'm just gonna write it out, or I'm just gonna text it to you, and that way it takes it off of my chest and put it back on you. That way the ball is in your court for you to be able to communicate with me and say whatever it is you want to say back to me.
Right.
Because everybody's not really, like I said before, a communication person. It's hard to just come out and just, I want to say this, but I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to put it in words. And to me, my thing was writing it out.
Yeah, okay. I ain't never done that before. I'll be thinking about texting, but through text, it could be a bad communication. But I wanted to ask you this too. So you learning that you were good at speaking life into people, what was the next step?
Honestly, I just kind of took off from there. Me and my best friend, we talked through, okay, well, what would you call it? And what would you call the business that you start? And how would you go about it and all that? And one day I just kind of like typed out a message. And then it went from recording the message. And then I started like doing it every day. And I was like, okay, well, maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And it just kind of took off from there.
All right. So I speak a lot about procrastination on my podcast. How did you get to the point of thinking about it, writing it down, to actually doing it? Because you probably one of the few people I've seen actually talk about your goals. I mean, not talk about your goals and like post it and then actually accomplish it. Like, you didn't inspire me. I seen you do this. I'm like, dang, she was not playing.
Well, it goes back to how determined are you? How determined are you to get to where you want to go? How determined are you to accomplish that goal? And see, my determination, and it's probably yours too, is my kids.
Yeah, definitely my kids. Yeah,
I want to see them have and do things that I've never did. And to be totally honest, like when I bought my house, I thought back to when I used to live with my grandma in grade school, just going to school and then coming home and then be able to go down the street and talk to my friend Portia, and we'll shuck and jive for a couple hours and then go back home and then go back to school the next day and talk about it. That was my highlight for my childhood. So I was like, I gotta buy my kids a house. I want them to be able to experience that. I want them to be able to experience that type of childhood.
Yeah, if you can, not to interrupt you, but I wanted you to say that situation. We had talked about that.
Yeah.
We'll probably talk about it a little bit later. But go ahead.
Yeah, so that was my whole thinking and my experience, that I wanted my kids to be able to experience that on the level, because I didn't get to experience that growing up. My dad, he bought a house, but I didn't live with my dad. I lived with my mom. So sometimes we were like in grade school. Like I said, I was living with my grandma, so I would go to school in her area, or we'll be using my grandma's address so I can go to a better school system or whatever the case may be. But then after a while, I was staying with my mom, and I ended up going to IPS, and that's just where I ended up landing. I was like, that was just my determination and motivation to say, I want better for my kids.
More. Yeah. Dang. So, man, because procrastination, I feel like a lot of people deal with it. And a lot of people have a lot of goals in their mind, but they never really take action on it. They even write it down, but they just don't know how to execute on it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about your book too. Can you tell people what your book name is?
So it's called Vision 2, the number 2 reality, and it's actually still on Amazon right now. And at the end of last year, I had prayed and I asked God, okay, so what's next for MMG? Because I don't know which way you want me to go. And when I tell you, he gave me, because I'm a visual person. I have to be able to see it, not physically see it, but spiritually see it. Yeah. So if I can spiritually see it, I'm going to go after it. That's another way for me to be able to accomplish my goals.
That's what I do as well. Yeah. I vision it.
If I can see the end goal, I don't know what the middle part is. That's just where my faith come in at. But if I can see the end goal, then that's going to keep me, and that's one of the things I talked about in my book. That's going to keep me to be able to keep going after it. It's just knowing that there's an end to all of this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So what's one of the most what's one of the biggest messages in your book?
There's a lot, but I would say it's the faith part. Because without the faith, I wouldn't be able to accomplish getting the car that I got or to even get the house that I got. And the thing is, I'm not saying like, I got like a Tesla or anything. The car that I got, God literally gave it to me.
Yeah.
Like, and I can tell you what I mean by that is, I was actually driving a car at the time to where when I say almost everything went wrong with that car, the transmission, the engine, the Cadillac converter, everything. But each time that I needed something, and they normally didn't do this because I got it from a buy here, pay here. They fixed it. They gave me a loaner car. They did what they needed to do, only because I feel like they knew they sold me a lemon. Yeah, they knew they sold me a lemon. So yeah, they feel like they needed to do right by me. And on top of that, I was always on time with my payments. I wasn't never late. If I had an issue, I call and let them know because I don't play by my bills.
Yeah.
So I had been looking, for a car and all that. And every day I got in my car to take my kids to school and to go to work, I would say out of my mouth every day the type of car that I wanted, down from how many rows I wanted, not necessarily the color or the like the model or anything, but I would just speak it because I would see it. I would see it every day. I'm gonna have this car. I'm gonna have a 3-row. It's gonna be new to me. It's gonna be less than this many miles and blah blah blah. I would speak that every day, and I would literally believe that every single day.
Speaking, manifesting, they speaking into an existence.
Yes, exactly.
Woo.
And I know one day I was on my way to work and I was driving and I had seen the car literally. I saw that it was either a Journey or a Durango. It was either burgundy or black, and I just saw the back of it. And at the bottom of it, it said Blossom on the back. When I tell you my car is black, it's a Journey, and it has Blossom on the back, literally. I saw it to a T.
That vision.
There was a vision, but I had to continue to trust God in that process because, like I said, my car kept breaking down. And I had to keep getting loaners, and they didn't know what was wrong with it. And I didn't have my car for, how long did I have it? I've had it maybe like 3 years. I didn't have it for like a year and a half out of that 3 years that I had.
Trials and tribulations. Woo.
And that was the longest test I had. I was like, oh, look, I keep seeing this car. When you going to give it to me?
Hey,
I'm ready for it.
You be like, hey, I'm ready. But at that point, so the point that you was at, did you feel like you was ready for it then? Or did you feel like God gave it to you in the time that you needed, that you were supposed to get it?
He gave it to me at the right time. And I say that because I even still try, even though I seen that car,
Right.
I was still trying to do it on my own. Going to get this other car that didn't look like the car that I seen.
And it wasn't even working out for you.
No. They was like, oh, you can't afford it. Oh, you need this and you need that. I'm like, what? No, my credit is good. No. And my grandma, it took for my grandma to say, you just need to be still. And as much as I knew that I just needed a new car and I wanted a new car, I was like, I ain't got no choice. Because if I keep letting these people run my credit, it's going to make my score go down.
Right. So man, because faith is one thing. How did you just keep focused? Because it's hard to stay focused through that rain and that storm. You almost want to just give up and be like, dang, see me somewhere.
Right.
I need it.
And
I need it. I need
it's
it.
really because I got tired. I got tired of going to the dealerships. I got tired of looking at different cars. I just got tired of trying to do it myself. And after a while, I just threw my hands up and I said, you know what? I surrender. Look, if I got to keep staying in these loaner cars, at least they're providing me. I started to shift my mindset.
Getting you from A to B.
Yes.
You just said something. That mindset.
Yeah.
Talk about the mindset.
I had to shift my mindset. You know what? I'm focusing on the
how you going to get there?
No, because I don't have what I want. I don't have my car. I'm paying on this car. I don't even have it. But not even thinking that God still give me a way to work.
You got one, yeah.
God still providing. I'm not even paying for this stuff that I have to get done to this car.
I had to switch that mindset.
Yeah, I had to switch. You see, you know what? I'm grateful. I had to go from complaining and upset and angry and mad to I'm grateful that I have something to drive. I have something that I'm not even paying for as far as the damages on that car.
Yeah.
I'm just grateful for that because they really don't do that.
Yeah.
And they showed me favor on that. And I had to shift and say, you know what? I surrender and I'm grateful and I'm just gonna keep driving it until you send me this car.
Yeah. That was one something I had wrote in my book. One of the chapters was called Positive Thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just switching that whole mindset and just like, all right, I'm gonna just rock with it. You know, I'm gonna just let it play out how the way it's supposed to play out.
Yeah, and see the thing is like when you focus so much on the negative, you're hurt, you're sad, you're in pain or whatever, that drains you.
Mm-hmm.
It drains you, and the longer that you keep doing that, is the longer that you will continue to be in that state.
Right.
Instead of shifting, you say, you know what? I know who my provider is. I know that I've got everything I need because I'm connected to the Most High.
Yeah. So I wanted you. I had seen you make a post. This is a little off subject, but it was so deep to me. So I seen a couple weeks ago you had this bag. And you was taking out. Explain that real quick. Talk about that. Say that story. I just want my listeners to hear that.
That a lot of the times we are toting around baggage
All right.
that we don't even need to be toting around.
Mm-hmm.
And just like Erykah Badu said, bag lady, like you just need to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
You just put it and sit it on the corner and walk away.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the baggage you carry around ain't even your baggage in the first place. It's stuff that people done pushed off on you.
Be careful who you talk to.
What? Come on now.
Be careful who you talk to.
That's actually my message for tomorrow. So
Hey, I liked that video though, because I was just looking. I was like, you had the bag carrying it outside, and I was like, why she carrying the bag outside? It was a whole message to it. I said, hey, drop me the gem. All right, so being an entrepreneur, what you think the hardest thing about being an entrepreneur is in this generation?
Well, for me, I'm a homebody, so it's kind of hard for me to get out and connect with other people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really my.
It's hard for you to connect. Why is that? You seem like you speak a lot.
No.
Social media wise, you be dropping gems at the gyms. I can't even keep up.
Well, remember I told you it's just me. So, and by nature, I'm an introvert.
Okay.
So if I hadn't did any of this entrepreneur stuff and like you see me in public, you wouldn't see me up moving around. If there's like an event going on, I'd be sitting right at my table, minding my business. And that's probably part of the reason why my name isn't out there like that, because I haven't actually pushed myself to get out to events. But that's been my goal this year, to go to more events and get my name out there.
Yes, I say this. When I first, because I think it was a lot of people think I've been out there doing it a lot, but actually it only been 2 years.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So I remember, I think it was like 2 years ago, and I was sitting there. I was like, dang, my name ain't out there like that. What do I need to do? So I'm like, I need to start going to more events. So I remember talking to my friend. I say, hey, I'm about to start going to events starting next week.
Right.
I'm about to jump right into it because I'm introverted as well. So but a lot of people don't think that.
Yeah, you wouldn't. I wouldn't have known that.
So I ended up going to my first event. Well, I was telling her, I said, should I go with a person, have a friend go with me, or should I go by myself so I'll be comfortable going by myself? It's like, go by yourself. Went to that first event by myself. I was nervous. People coming up talking to me. I'm like, The second event, I'm a little bit more comfortable. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
What is it that third event? Hey, grab my business card. But you will get out of it the more you go. And you're right. It is a different type of atmosphere, especially when you're not used to it and you're a little intimidated because you don't know who that person is. But it's crazy. I think the fourth place that I went to, I was talking to this guy and I was just having a great conversation with him. I asked to take a picture with him just because he's at the event. I like the network and stuff. Yeah. Finding out he's the owner of this big old brand, and I was just like, dang, that's crazy. I was just talking to him like he probably just thinking like, oh damn, like he cool.
Right.
But yeah, I say a lot of people, step out your comfort zone. I mean, you stepped out your comfort zone. You made a book. You have clothing, merch.
Yeah.
So all right. So you said the hardest thing. What's the easiest thing, or what's the best thing you could give advice to them about?
Just be authentically you. Like, cause even though I I don't get out there like that, and I am an introvert. I like to talk. Like my friends tell you, if we cool and we friends, I will talk.
I'm dropping the gems.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like to talk, and that was another reason why I chose to do this, because I do like to talk, and I do be having some, knowledge that God gives me and all that stuff, and I be wanting to uplift other people. Because what's the point of having all the knowledge and not give it to somebody else to try to help?
I got something to share.
What?
Just because you said, I just thought about that. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I got something to share. So I was watching this video, and this guy was talking about pouring water in a cup.
Yeah.
You got to pour some water out to pour more in it. And if you just keeping all the water,
Yeah.
how much more can you put in if you ain't pouring it out to other people?
Exactly.
But
And
yeah,
because that's really that it's all about.
So you like to give wisdom, knowledge. I want you to share some wisdom and knowledge with the young women and the young men that's listening. What type of advice would you just give them?
My advice would be to seek whatever your purpose is in life. Because for like the longest time, I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't actually find it out until I started this business. So last year, I kind of confirmed what it is that I actually like to do. Not only that, I'm a big advocate for self-care.
Talk about it.
And you really don't know yourself unless you actually spend time with yourself.
Say that again.
You really don't know yourself until you spend time with yourself.
Definitely.
And during my actual journey and going through everything within the past 2 years, I spent all last year spending time with myself. And I would sit back and be like, am I really like that? Like,
learning.
Is this really me? Am I the drama here? Like,
that was some boy. You're right.
It'd be some hard like stuff. I'd just be like, okay, now maybe I was the problem in this situation or that situation. And I would have never actually knew that if I wouldn't have spent that one-on-one time with me.
Yep, learning yourself. And I see you go out to eat and just go by yourself to certain places.
I go out to eat. I go to the movies. I know last summer a few times I came down here to walk down on the canal. Like sometimes I'll just ride in silence without no music.
I just had to do that.
Yes,
cause my mind be racing.
It's so peaceful.
Yeah,
it makes you be able to gather your thoughts and level it out.
I was watching a video and the guy was like, a lot of people occupy their time because they be scared of themselves.
Yes.
And
they are scared to be alone with themselves.
Yeah, they occupy their mind. They watch Netflix. They don't never spend that one time with themselves and just, just peace of quiet silence.
Yeah.
That was deep to me. But so, I liked that advice, that wisdom that you gave to them. What was my next question? So what inspires you? Yeah, that's my question. What inspires you other than your children to keep going?
There have been many times that I wanted to stop doing this. Yeah. Man. And I feel like I was wanted to stop doing it for the wrong reasons.
What was the reason?
The wrong reasons would be, okay, nobody actually engaged on the video. I don't know if it's helping anybody. Not necessarily the likes, but I just can't tell if it's helping somebody.
Yeah.
And then, I was like, okay, God, look, if this is what I'm supposed to be doing, I need to know that I'm on the right track.
Need that confirmation.
Yeah. And I would keep doing it, and then next thing you know, somebody be like, they'll comment. TikTok is one of my biggest platforms I have right now. So people will comment and be like, that really helped me. That really encouraged me. I needed that. This was right on time. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to keep going. So even though I have good days or good weeks, like last week wasn't too good. This week was. But my whole thing is that I say, if I can just get one person, to encourage and uplift, that I did my job for the day.
Yep, that's all you need. And I want to say this quote too from a good friend named Tyrus. He said, if you can't find the one, be the one. So if you can't find that one that you're doing it for, be the person, be that one that you're doing it for.
That's good, because there's been messages that I've talked about that I'd be like, you know what, that I don't know about anybody else, but that was for me. Yeah, so
my thing too is, I remember I made a tweet and it was like, man, who gonna motivate the motivator?
But you got to be willing to be taught, though.
Yeah, definitely. What advice would you give to be teachable? to some of the people that's listening?
To put down your ego.
That is a strong. That is a.
Yeah, because a lot of people, there are people, placing things, teaching you, but you're not even listening long enough to be taught, or even being still long enough to understand what it is that they're saying to you. Because sometimes we get in our head and we think we know everything.
Yeah.
And reality is, you can always learn something.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, I think this episode was pretty good. Anything you want to share with the people that's listening?
No, you said you wanted to go back to something about the house or something like that.
I remember the story about the bag. That's the one. Oh, yeah. I do want you to tell them about that. The story about how you got the house, real quick.
Okay, so, let's see. So, I bought a house in 2020, and I told this story so many times. I bought a house in 2020, but prior to me buying the house, I was actually in a relationship, and I've been going to house trying to find it. And like I said, I'm a visual person, so I knew what the house looked like before I actually got it. So I knew it had red shutters, a red door, and it was like square shape, and it had a 2-car garage and all of that. So I knew what it looked like. So even though it was that faith thing again, I was still looking at houses that I knew wasn't it.
Having a yeah.
Yeah. So I ended up having to let go of my relationship because of that. And it wasn't really because of the house. It was really that I had said a message before that God can't bless no mess. That
oh my no, because I just had an episode I was talking about some people, you can't receive certain blessings when you surrounded by certain people. You got to let them people go, because they not going through that door with you when it's time for you to get blessed. It's not for them. It's for you. Not for y'all. It's for you.
Yes, it's not for y'all. It's for you. And then you have to recognize what it is you initially prayed for. So I initially prayed for a house for me and my children, not for me and my children and a boyfriend. It was for me and my children. So when I was trying to find these houses, and I'm like, okay, God, look, my credit is good. I got the money. My realtor. I got everything out. And 3 people came by and told me the same thing. Y'all not supposed to be living together. You pray for a house for you and your kids, blah, blah, blah. And it's for the third person, I'd be like,
I always take third on.
All right, I don't want to do this, but at this point I got to choose. And that's sometimes we get messed up because we don't want to choose what's best for us, but we want to add people to the group that ain't supposed to be there.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to separate to elevate.
And I had that conversation with that person on May 31st of 2020. I never forget. I went home that day. I told him, look, either we gonna tie the knot or we not. And that's
trying to play no games.
Right. and we had already been doing this 2.5, almost 3 years. I'm like, okay, and it's kind of, and when I say it like that, people are like, dang, you gave an ultimatum. Well, at that point, I was given an ultimatum. Yeah. I had to figure out if I'm gonna do this or not, because I wanted what I prayed for. Yeah. And so he said, give me a couple days. He told me on June the 2nd he couldn't do it. I kid you not, June the 3rd, my house came on the market. I talked to my realtor. We went to go see it, and I was actually on the phone with my best friend. She said, that's the house. That's the house. I said, wait a minute. So I looked outside, and I was like, red shutters, red door, 2-car. This is the house. Yeah,
and what's crazy, y'all, if y'all go look on her social media, if you seen her doing motivational videos, you will literally see exactly what you just said. The red shutters, red door.
And every time I look at my house, I just be so in awe, because not only that am I here, but I'm living in what I prayed for.
With that goal you had in mind.
Yes.
Man, that was deep. I just love that, though. I love that story. I'm glad you shared that with me a couple months ago. I think like 6 months ago and stuff like that. You shared that story. It stuck with me. That's why I asked you to say it, because I feel like a lot of people are asking for things right now. Yeah. And they don't understand. Hey, separate yourself from certain relationships, separate yourself from certain things, and watch it. It's going to come straight to you.
Because honestly, most of the time we stand in our own way. God's not blessing us because we in the way of the blessing. Yeah. We won't let go of certain people, places, and things, and that's why we can't get to the blessing.
Yeah. Well, I think this was a great episode. I'm glad you shared that and reminded me. I want you to share where they can follow you and where they can find you at.
So for Facebook, you can find me on Motivational Movement Group. Instagram, you can find me on Motivational Movement Group or RERE Reah. I do everything on my personal page as well. TikTok is MMG1220. My YouTube for my new podcast is up. So it's called Journey to a Godly Woman. Go subscribe because when I drop I've been dropping the videos that I've been doing on Facebook, but once I actually get the podcast up and running, y'all need to make sure y'all in subscribing to that. Yeah.
Yep. So y'all make sure y'all go tap in with her. Again, she got so much wisdom, knowledge. I love following her, learn something new every day. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing all this knowledge, and we're gonna have to have another one.
Most definitely, yeah. And I'm gonna have to bring you on mine.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so y'all tap in with another one, y'all. Peace.